We are now working on problems 33 through 37 of the review for Trig Test 1. Problem 33. Use the unit circle to find the value of the trig function. They want me to find the cotangent of pi over 3. If you need to change to degrees so that you can think about what you're doing, you know that's 180 over pi that you multiply by. That is 60 degrees. They're asking you to find the cotangent of 60 degrees. Y'all, I just love using the exact value chart. You will have your unit circle given to you. If you want the exact value chart, you're going to have to write it down when you get your test so that you got it in front of you. I find the tangent of 60 degrees is the square root of 3. I know that cotangent is the inverse, so that is 1 over the square root of 3. Rationalize your denominator. Multiply numerator and denominator both by the square root of 3. Final answer, square root of 3 over 3. (34) What is the domain of the cosine function? In your notes, you know that I gave you sine and cosine have domain of negative infinity all the way to infinity, and range of -1 to 1. You just have to memorize this, know it for the test. This means you can substitute any number into sine and cosine. Take the sine and cosine of any number, but no matter what you take the sine and cosine of, the answer you get will be something. The smallest that it can be, -1, greatest that can be, +1. These are the values that you will get, no matter what angle that you take the sine and cosine of. 35. Use even and odd properties of trig functions to find the exact value of the cosine of -150 degrees. If you don't even want to think about even and odd, just draw this -150 degrees. Find theta prime. Theta prime's going to be 30. You know that the cosine of 30 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2. You think about the SIGN in the third quadrant, x is negative. That answer is negative square root of 3 over 2. Number 36. Use periodic properties of the trig functions to find the exact value of the sine of 10 pi over 3. Changed 10 pi over 3 to a mixed number. 3 goes into 10 3 times. Got a remainder of 1. 3 1/3 pi. Draw that angle. There is 2 pi. There is 3 pi. There's another 1/3 of a pi. related angle, theta prime. 1/3 of pi is 60 degrees. What is the sine of 60 degrees? Either look at your unit circle or look at your exact value chart. The sine of 60 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2. In the third quadrant, y is negative. I know that makes sine be negative. My answer is negative square root of 3 over 2. If you wanted to, you could have changed 10 pi over 3 to degrees. It might have helped you think about this a little bit better. If radians just kind of mess you up, 10 pi over 3 is like 180 over pi. The pi's cancel. 3 goes in 180 60 times. 10 times 60 is 600. That means I got to go around here 600 degrees. There's 360 degrees. That means I got to go around there 240 more degrees. There's 180. There's that 240. Theta prime, 60 degrees. If radians mess your brain up a little bit, change to degrees, and then do the problem the same way. The very last problem on this study guide, problem number 37. The total sales in dollars of some small businesses fluctuates according to this equation. S equals A plus B sine of pi over 6 x, where x equals time in months, x equals 1 is January, x equals 2 is February, x equals 3 is March, ... A equals 6,400, B equals 3,200. Determine the month with the greatest total sales and give the sales in that month. This is multiple choice. Use your calculator. $6,400 plus 3,200 times the sine of pi over 6 times 1 equals, let's check that out and see what that's going to give us. Be sure you have your calculator in radians. Got 6,400 plus 3,200 times the sine of pi divided by 6. We got 8,000. Now, that's January. Do the same thing. Put a 2 right there and you'll be checking it out for February. 6,400 plus 3,200 times the sine of pi over 6 times 2. Let's see what that number gives us. 6,400 plus 3,200 times the sine That gives us $9,171.28. Let's check out March. $6,400 plus 3,200 times sine of pi divided by 6 times 3. That gives us 9,600. You could keep on going, and you could put all the 12 months in there and see which one of these gives you the biggest number. The answer is going to be March, because that's going to give me pi over 2, and the sine of pi over 2 is 1. But even if you didn't know that, or if you didn't think about that, you could just find this answer by doing trial and error and finding which one of these gives you the biggest number. You would only have to plug 4 numbers in there because it's a multiple choice test.